So in the 4C method that I teach in my close method, client, conversation, call, and close, right? This chat belongs to the conversations part. And when I was creating this, or when I thought of creating this, or when the idea came to me to create sales via chat, up to that point, I experienced a lot of different scenarios that gave me the idea. And Latif says, I'm ready to have my inbox buzzing, Sean. Yes. A very common scenario is I see that setters in team sometimes feel misunderstood, frustrated, unsupported. Because as a setter, what are we trying to do? We're trying to book calls, right? And we'll do the best we can, get people onto calls. And sometimes if we are in a certain team where the business owner is kind of, I don't want to say creating problems, but there's not enough meat for you as the setter to eat. You know what I'm saying? If you're a setter, you probably get what I'm saying. There's not enough meat for you to eat. And all you want to do every day is eat, right? You want to book calls. You want to have big, juicy calls that close, and then you get paid your base, and then you get paid your comms, right? And that's would probably be a good month, if not a big fat month for you, right? But sometimes when, like, I've worked for teams where the business owner is not present and they're not creating content, and they're like, Sean, why isn't the inbox moving? And I'm like, and let me know if you relate to this. And I'm like, look, I'm working really hard, right? Like 6-hour, 8-hour shifts a day, and I'm trying to move the conversations, but I need more support in terms of the content, right? You gotta go live, you gotta drop some good baits, right? Good hooks, good lead magnets, like help me move the machine. I'm helping you to move the machine. So when I noticed that, I realized that, first of all, it's not that the setter isn't hardworking, and it's not that the business owner doesn't want to succeed, but there are some gaps from both perspectives that are not being filled, and not being properly clarified. And then there's also closers that they're actually hopping around teams because they don't have enough leads. So when you come to an offer as a closer and you're like, today there's not enough leads, well, in that case, let me disqualify the business owner. Let me calculate their OTE and grill them on it. If not, I find another offer and I wait. So this should never be the case, because as a closer, if you can close, how can you not know how to close someone to meet you on a call? You know what I'm saying? So if you are a closer and you find yourself honestly sitting around waiting for calls, something is very, very wrong. Okay, you are not a complete closer. You are a one-dimensional closer because you are not in control of the pipeline. And it's not entirely the business owner's fault if you do know that through the power of chat, you can add at least 1, 2, 3 more calls per day into your pipeline. Like, it's supporting yourself as a closer. And then there were also a lot of business owners that were like, I'm doing my marketing right, I'm doing my sales right, like what's missing? Is my setter not performing? Like, are the conversations not moving? Like, what's happening? So I noticed a lot of blind spots, not just in each specific role, but from a top-down perspective of the entire business, especially myself, having worked through the role as a setter full-time, having worked through the role of a closer full-time, having my own business, I've worked through every part of this here, so I can understand everyone's perspective. And let me just lead this whole thing by saying that it's no one's fault, and the emphasis should be on understanding how the entire machine works, so that instead of looking at each other and say, hey, the closer isn't closing, or the setter isn't booking the right call, or the business owner isn't supporting us, how can we, because like in my business for a long time, I was the business owner, I was the content creator, I was the coach, I was the setter, I was the copywriter, I was my own editor, I was my own funnel builder, I was my own closer. So I couldn't possibly argue with myself, right? I can't possibly argue with myself, right? I have to actually have to support myself. And I feel that if every business can get to the point where you see yourself as one, in the same way that I really am a lot of times a one-man business, you will be able to turn these conflicts and chaos and misunderstandings into opportunities to say, how can I help you set better? Right? How can I help you create better content? How can I help you have higher quality and quantity of calls booked into your calendar? Like, give me some feedback, right? And then I can give you some feedback as well. So when I saw this whole thing from a big picture, I was like, okay, I need to create something. And someone asked me, like, then is this going to be an appointment setter course? Right? Is it a closer selling on chat course? Not really. Not really. I hope that by the end of these 2 hours, you know that this is really a complete solution. And if you really think about it, even if you are a setter or closer, you are solopreneur, you are a one-man business. And it's really important for you to understand the whole thing. Okay.